Welcome or welcome back. In this video, we're going to be making a spun cotton mouse. And I've got my cotton balls ready. Like I've said in other videos, I started with just what I had. I just had regular old cotton balls, so that's what I started with. And then I had a green pipe cleaner on hand, so I used that for my armature. Here I'm making the head shape for the mouse, and the rest is going to be the body. And for the arms and legs, I used just regular galvanized wire, just regular wire. I don't know if it's galvanized. Is it galvanized? I don't know. It's wire. And normally you would use floral wire that is wrapped with brown paper. I didn't have any of that. I did eventually order it from Amazon, but if you don't have that, you can use just regular wire. And then what I had to do was wrap it with masking tape. That way the cotton actually sticks to it, because the cotton is not going to stick to the regular wire. It may, but you're gonna have to finagle with it a lot. It's much easier if you have masking tape or something around that wire to have a base for the cotton to stick to. So I've got my arms and my legs all done and got my masking tape all prepared. I just kind of stuck a bunch of little sections of tape onto my table so that I could then wrap it around the wire. And as you can see, I have the little tail sticking out. I used the pipe cleaner for the tail armature as well. Using the pipe cleaner for the tail is going to make your tail a little bit more thicker, fatter. So if you don't want a thicker, fatter tail, then you would want to use wire so that it would be a little bit skinnier. It's all been about trial and error with these little mice. I've made several by this point, and I do like some of them a little bit better than others, but what I do like about all of them is none of them are the same. They're all uniquely different. And here's a close-up of the armature. You do want to make the arms and legs a little bit longer than what you're actually going to need. And then at some point, you're going to make a final decision of how long you want your arms and your legs to be. Now, if you're wanting your mice to hold something, then you may want to make the arms just a little bit longer than, what's anatomically correct, because you're going to want some length of arm for whatever you're putting in their hands to hold on to. So here is my final decision on how long I want the arms and legs to be, and then I'm going to be using my wire cutters to cut off the excess wire. I'm just kind of testing him to make sure he will stand up on his own, and this is the first mouse that I made. And here you can see the tail is a little bit thicker, like I was talking about before. If you use a pipe cleaner, it is going to be a little bit thicker, and I think he turned out pretty good for my first try. I really like the coloring. I really like his little nose and his little beady eyes and his big ears. Of course, they're not anatomically correct mice, but they're still cute nonetheless. And now we're going to start taking our cotton and spinning it around. Now, I did wait to cut off the excess wire until this part, just so I could make sure that I had all of the cotton down to the very nub, and to make sure that I had the length that I wanted. And this is just going to be your first layer of cotton. What I have been doing is doing an initial layer, and usually it only takes a second layer, but you can put as many layers as you need to until you have what you want, until you're satisfied with it. And I'm going ahead and cutting off the excess wire here. And like I said, I just wanted to make sure that I was happy with the length of the legs before I committed to having to cut off some of the wire. Here's a close-up of my legs, and like I said, you're just going to keep adding layers. If you want your legs to be a little bit beefier, you just add more layers. Now, you do want to make sure in between layers that your cotton has dried completely so that you don't run into any issues. I don't know what kind of issues you would run into, but you do want to make sure that before you add any other layers after your initial layer, that your first layer is completely dried. And here's my little arms. And now I'm going to start on the body. And you're just going to twist your cotton around and around and around, periodically putting layers of your cornstarch mixture on there to make sure that it sticks. As far as letting your first initial layer dry, you have two options. As long as you don't have a really thick base of cotton and it's not overly saturated, I've found that it normally takes about 24 hours for these little mice to dry. It really depends on what you're making and how many layers you have. I also have been putting my mice in the oven, and I've been following Rosanna Makes YouTube videos as tutorials, as kind of like a base to start with. Her videos are incredible, and I will leave a link to her channel down below. And I've been doing what she does for her drying process. I live in the US, so I turn my oven up to 350. I know in other countries you use Celsius, but here in the US, I turn it up to 350 Fahrenheit. I let my oven heat up to temperature, and then I cut the oven off. I will set my little mice on a piece of tin foil on top of a cookie sheet or any type of, you could even put it in a casserole dish, but as long as you have it on a piece of tin foil so it's not going to stick to anything, and then I leave it in there for about 30 minutes, and then it's dry enough for me to go ahead and put my second layer on. I'm also probably in the future going to get a toaster oven because it would just be easier to have it right there in my craft room. So I probably will do that in the future, but for right now, the oven is just fine. I do periodically make sure that my mouse will still stand up on its own before I keep adding layers, because the more layers you add, of course, it's going to change the weight of your piece that you're working on. And it does look kind of funny before you put ears on it. Once you put the ears on it, it really comes together. But he's getting beefy, as you can see. This is the next day, and I started another one. Now this one I did a little bit different. As you can see, the tail, I used the wire and just wrapped the masking tape around the wire instead of using the actual pipe cleaner, just to have a little bit of a skinnier tail. And I did trim this tail off because it's pretty long, so I did trim it off just a little. As far as texture of your cotton, if you're wanting a really smooth finish, you can smooth it out with your fingertips, kind of like what I'm doing here. Maybe you want lumpy, and if that's what you're going for, you can also create that with the cotton as well. If you're using different types of cottons, because there are different types of cottons, that may give you different textures also. Like I said earlier in the video, I have been following Rosanna Makes videos as kind of a base for my creations. Her videos are wonderful, and she makes the cutest creations out of cotton. Another thing is with the cornstarch mixture, I haven't even tried to use the PVA or the school glue mixture. Rosanna Makes did start out with that, and she talks about how much better the cornstarch mixture is. It's more original to the way that it used to be done in the 19th century, and it does not stick to your fingers, and you do get a smoother finish with that. So I couldn't even tell you the difference between the PVA glue and the cornstarch mixture because I haven't tried the PVA glue. It sounds terrible. So I'm going to stick with the cornstarch mixture. Good morning. I'm making this video many months after all the footage that you just saw. I wanted to just kind of show you the start of making these little spun cotton mice. I did not show you in this video the process of painting them, but I did want to show you the creations that I have created thus far. My stomach is growling. So sorry about that. It's 11:07 and I haven't eaten anything yet today, so I'm going to do that promptly after this video. But let me show you these little mice. we are in the process of moving out of this house. So the craft room is kind of disheveled, as you can see. Lots of stuff has been happening. But this video is all about the mice. So let's show you the mice. All right, so far I have made 6 mice. I'll show you the 6th in just a second. These are the ones that are completely painted. This is the very first one that I made. I named him Mousiferous. He has a little witch's hat on and his own little magic wand. And this is his little companion. This was the second one I made. This one didn't turn out as good as the first one. And these two are the ones that I used the watercolor that I had on hand. So they're not really, I mean, there are blonde mice, but more often than not, they're going to be gray like these over here. I did also make these little mice a cauldron and put some bubbling brew in there. These are the other mice that I have made. Now this one, he has little beads for eyeballs. This one I actually ordered some eyes off of Amazon. And let's see, this one I painted the eyes on, and this one's still, oh, the little tails are getting tangled. This one also has the beads. So these are painted with the watercolors that I got in from Amazon that I ordered. So they're more, I mean, I would think that they're more, to me, they're more authentic as far as color than these are. These look more like hamsters to me than mice, but here we are. This one, I wanted his little tail to be a curly Q, and he also, no, he has the little bead eyeballs too. I thought I painted those, but I didn't. So this one has the bead eyeballs. This one has bead eyeballs. These two have bead eyeballs. And then this one I actually painted the eyeballs on. He is probably my favorite. I tried to paint more like hair strokes on this one, but I think he's really cute too. I don't know why I'm calling them all he's. Eventually I'm going to make some she's, but I feel like once I start to make them, I kind of gender them, and they all just seem like he's to me. Now the last one that I made, I haven't been able to paint him yet. I think he's really cute. I love his little nose. If you can tell, I added a little nose onto him. And when you dry them in the oven, they get these little brown spots on them, which I don't mind because I think it adds to their coloring. And I also gave this one a curly Q tail as well. And you can also, I mean, I don't know if you can kind of tell, but you can also kind of shape where they're looking. Like this one is kind of looking off here. This one is looking up at us, up at us, up at us, up at us. And then this one, he's kind of looking off to his, I guess it would be his right or his left, depending on how he's facing you. But I'm going to be coloring him. I probably won't be able to color him until after we move because, I mean, our house is in shambles. And I also tried to start a Peter Rabbit. This one I still have a lot of layering to do. This is just the first layer. And this one, I tried to do the process where you actually wrap the cotton with sewing thread. So yeah, I'm not going to be able to finish him until after we move also. So that is what I have so far. And I have all this footage. This footage that you watched, I actually filmed in December. So I've been going on this journey of crafting and I wanted to take you with me, which is why I'm putting it out now. I'm having a really difficult time trying to pack up this house and edit videos and get them out to you on our regular schedule. So we may not be able to stick to our schedule until after we move from this house. When I'm talking to you, I'm on my phone. I was going to look for my phone to give you the date. Today is Monday, February the 10th. We have movers coming this Saturday, so I only have the rest of this week to get this house all packed up. So if we are thrown off of our schedule, that is why. We are moving out of this house. We have to officially be out on February the 18th, which is next Tuesday, and then we're closing officially on February the 19th. We are going to be moving in with Joe and Marcia until we are able to buy another house. So it's going to be a whirlwind. Once we get to Joe and Marcia's house, I'll be able to have some downtime to actually be able to edit videos to get out to you on a regular schedule. But if I'm not able to upload anything this Thursday for Thursday Thoughts with Tiff, or this Friday for our regular Friday, our life of moving out of this house is why. So with all that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video of me starting these little mice. I'm loving them. They're just adorable. I'm really enjoying it. All those YouTube things. I will see you in the next one. Bye.